The Toronto Blue Jays complete the sweep of the Atlanta Braves in an insane game that saw Danny Jansen walk it off. So we're going to break that down and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? Nick Gosse, your host of Jays Digest. Before we do get into the video, I want to thank you all for your support. It's been unbelievable. We're very close to 7,000 subscribers, so make sure to hit that button if you enjoy the daily Jays content. And again, we're close to 7K, so it would mean the world if you hit that button. But wow, what a game for the Toronto Blue Jays. And let's just get right into it because this is fresh. This has happened 2 minutes ago. The Blue Jays walk-off sweep with tons of ease there. Danny Jansen, RBI single, scoring 2 to complete the sweep of the Atlanta Braves, who are a team that has been dominant the past few years, dominant this season. They come into town in Toronto and they get swept by the Toronto Blue Jays. And this game had it was an emotional roller coaster. The defense was atrocious by the Atlanta Braves. It was atrocious by the Toronto Blue Jays. The umpires were horrible, which we'll touch on as well. But let's just focus on the positive right now, and that is Danny Jansen's walk-off hit. And let's just get right into the box score here. George Springer went 2 for 5. Bo Bichette went 0 for 3, but did have a couple walks, so that's, valuable in itself. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 2 for 5. Dalton Varsho had an okay game as well. Matt Chapman struggled a little bit, but drew the very key walk late in the game. Of course, Whit Merrifield, 1 for 5. Brandon Belt was a bit of a hero today, and in the bottom of the ninth, he got an infield single to load the bases, which ultimately ended up with a Danny Jansen 2-run single. But what a game for the Jays. And if you haven't seen the walk-off, go on Twitter, go wherever, and go watch it. What a game for the Blue Jays. And what a walk-off. It was electric. With Danny Jansen coming up with 2 outs, the Rogers Center was electric. It was so loud. They showed a little clip of everyone raising their hands, getting out of their seats, yelling. It was loud. At least it seemed loud from the TV. 35+ thousand on Mother's Day. And it ended in the best possible way with a Danny Jansen single through the left side to, again, sweep the Braves. But huge shout-out to Brandon Belt there. He had a phenomenal game. Santiago Espinal played okay as well. And, of course, Danny Jansen there was the hero, going 2 for 5. But it was it didn't always look the most promising for the Blue Jays. But, again, weird game. And overall, we're just happy we got out of there with the sweep. Yankees come to town tomorrow. And this was a game that you needed to win if you were the Blue Jays because, again, the schedule is so difficult going forward. We have the Yankees for a 4-game set starting tomorrow. And then we have tons of other teams right off for another 2 weeks. And it's going to be wild. But let's get into the second one now, which is the bullpen dominating. And let's touch on the pitching of this game. Of course, the hitting ended up being the highlight. But we have to give a huge shout out to the bullpen as they did not allow a single run in their 4 1/3 innings of work. And what a day by the bullpen. And that's the second game in a row where the bullpen has been absolutely dominant. Let's pop it up here. But first, let's touch on Yusei Kikuchi. He went 4 innings, gave up 9 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, and a bit of a weird game for him. And the key to his season so far has been hard contact, and he's been getting hit very, very hard. He just hasn't really given up many runs this season. However, it kind of caught up to him today. He was getting barreled up right as the first batter, Ronald Acuna Jr., fastball middle. Acuna crushes it, one of the best hitters in baseball. But, if you're leaving fastballs right down the middle, especially when you're throwing 95, 96, whatever Kikuchi, tends to throw, it's going to get hit hard. And Yusei Kikuchi has to find a way going forward to continue to limit the hard contact that like he's been doing earlier in the season. And despite not giving up and coming into the game with a 3 ERA, he's still been giving up a lot of hard contact throughout the year. So hopefully him and Pete Walker can find a way to reduce that because his command, he seems to have found it. No walks again. His walks are way down from previous years, but hard contact has been his kryptonite so far throughout the year. In games where he does blow up and give up a lot of runs, it's because of the home runs, and he gave up tons of them tonight. I believe 3 or 4 home runs to the Braves. Shout out Kevin Pillar, who hit one of those home runs, but he's been giving up a lot of home runs, and we're going to give him the pass. He's been phenomenal this season, and he battled to give us 4 innings today, but he was getting pounded, and he did get 7 strikeouts, but like Dan Shulman mentioned on the broadcast, it seems like games where he gives up a lot of strikeouts, he's also prone to giving up hard hit balls and giving up the home run. So I'll leave that there, but a very rough outing for Yusei Kikuchi, but one that I think he can build on going forward and hopefully trying to limit his hard hit balls. But let's touch on the bullpen, who did an absolutely stupendous job, and there's a couple guys I want to highlight, but let's go through in the order here. Anthony Bass, off to a horrible start throughout the year. Came in, did his job, got it wasn't a 1-2-3 inning, but at least he, didn't give up a run. And again, the Jays were down for the majority of this game. It was kind of back and forth, but when Yusei Kikuchi came out, the job of the bullpen is to settle it down. Don't let them get another run, because with the offense the Blue Jays have, you can always come back from games. We have tons of comeback wins. This would make it our 10th comeback win now, or maybe even the 11th. Let me know in the comments. But the bullpen, all they had to do was shut it down and give the Jays a chance, and that's what they did today. Anthony Bass, shout out to him. Jay Jackson, who knows how long he'll be with the team. He came in and got out of the inning without giving up a run, which is huge. Saves a bullpen arm as well when we were down. And now let's get into the huge shout out of the day, which was Trevor Richards. If Danny Jansen hadn't walked it off, maybe I would have thrown Trevor Richards in the thumbnail, but he gives us 2 innings, only giving up a hit and a walk, 3 strikeouts, and he's been phenomenal throughout this season. He's been very, very valuable for the Toronto Blue Jays. Just invaluable for the team. And the reason for that is because he gives us several innings. He can give us, when we're down in the game, we don't want to use our high leverage guys in case the offense doesn't step up. Trevor Richards has been the guy to go in there and give us a couple of innings of usually 1 run or less ball. And today, he was no different. 2 innings, no runs, kept us in the game in the 7th and 8th inning, which ultimately was very, very key in us winning the game. So huge shout out to him. And also a huge shout out to Nate Pearson, who came in the top of the 9th and looked very, very dominant, touched 99 miles per hour, and was overall very, very good. And the bullpen was huge. They won us the game today. Obviously, the offense ended up technically winning us the game, but in a game that saw, horrible, horrible defense out of both sides, the Braves were dropping everything. The Braves were gifting us the game, and it seemed like we didn't want to take it, but we ultimately did. It was even a weird game for Matt Chapman, who had 2 errors himself. Bad game for him in the defensive end, but we'll let that be. We'll let Matt Chapman's bad defensive game on the defensive end, we'll let that go by, because he's someone who has been dominant throughout his whole career. But we'll leave that there, and overall, a phenomenal game for the pitching staff. And Nate Pearson, again, was dominant, so huge shout out to him. As we move on now to the 3rd chapter here, which Umpire Clown Show. And had we lost this game, I was actually going to do kind of the majority of the video focused on this. And let me make it clear. The reason that we, not that we lost the game, but the reason that the game wasn't really going the Jays' way was not because of the umpires whatsoever. However, Andy Fletcher had a horrible, horrible day behind the dish, and I just wanted to highlight that. And again, if we were going to lose the game, I was going to highlight this a bit more, because it's, it's fun, more fun to focus on stuff like this when you lose. But Brandon Belt was absolutely robbed, and you can see this from Thomas Hall. Shout out to him. But you can see pitches 1 and 4. 4 was called, called strike 3, not even close to the zone. The first strike there wasn't even close, and the big one here was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. getting called out. This would have led to the bases loaded with 1 out, but instead it led to a scoreless inning for the Blue Jays, because he got called out, number 6 there on strike 3. And just wanted to touch on this quickly. The umpires all around the MLB, and especially for the Blue Jays, because that's who we watch as fans, have been absolutely brutal. And I don't know what the MLB needs to do. They're obviously testing the umps in the minor leagues, but I just want robo-umps to come faster than ever. And it's something that I never really thought I'd be saying, but now that, the umps are continually, messing up calls, and obviously it's the human aspect, and who knows how accurate, they're going to be day in or day out. But when you're continually missing calls and seemingly affecting the game as much as they have this season, it might be time for things to change. But because we won the game, I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I'm interested to see the umpire scorecard tomorrow just to see how much they actually impacted. And it was bad on both sides. You had a gigantic strike zone, and as a hitter, when your strike zone is that big, it's really hard to make contact unless you're someone like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette. So I just wanted to touch on that. And Andy Fletcher, be better going forward, because that was horrible. And I'm sure, like Dan Shulman said on the broadcast there, he's going to look back and be disappointed with himself. But Andy Fletcher, be better. That's all I'm going to say about that. And let's move on now to a look ahead. And what a game today. I still have the adrenaline from it. Again, I recorded this. This is, as of now, we're about 10 minutes out from the actual walk-off. So a huge, wonderful Sunday night Mother's Day game. And shout out to all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day to all you who are watching. But a look ahead now. We have the Yankees coming to town tomorrow with Alek Manoah against TBA. We don't know who's starting tomorrow. It said TBA in the broadcast, so I guess Garrett Cole is not going to be starting tomorrow. So we'll have to see who is going to be pitching. But either way, it's going to be a very exciting series coming into Rogers Center, a weekday, night game. They always usually do well at Rogers Center. Lots of fans. It's electric. Aaron Judge has been hitting the ball really well recently, and the AL East is continuing to heat up. The teams are, they're all doing good. Orioles lost today, thankfully, so the Jays gained ground on them, and the Rays beat the Yankees. So the AL East is crazy. The Toronto Blue Jays right now are playing absolutely insane, and we need to see them continue this level of success, because after getting swept by the Red Sox, we came in and swept the Pirates and then got swept by the Phillies. So now we sweep the Braves after getting swept by the Phillies. Hopefully we can continue our win streak and maybe go out there and sweep the Yankees. But hopefully we can sweep the Yankees. But either way, we'll have it all covered for you guys coming up this week. So thank you guys for watching. We'll pray for a sweep against the Yankees, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Thanks.